Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World of the Black Business School, and I was reflecting today on something that I really hadn't thought about for a really long time. I hadn't thought about it probably for 20 some years actually, because I just had my birthday. You know how birthdays are. Birthdays are a time when you just start thinking about your life and the funny stories that you had. And I was thinking about when I was teaching math at the University of Kentucky. I don't know if you know this. I taught my first finance class when I was 22 years old. Sorry, I taught my first college class. Sorry, when I was 22 years old, and it kind of went back and forth between finance and math. Right. I taught finance when I was at Indiana University. Then I taught math at the University of Kentucky. Then I taught finance again later on when I finished my PhD. And to be honest with you, when I look back on it now, and I say, wow, I was teaching at the college level at the age of 22. That's pretty impressive. At that time, I didn't feel very impressed with myself, to be honest with you, because I compared where I was to where I was trying to get to, and I still do that. I still have that habit today. Some people think it translates into humility when really it's an honest reaction to me feeling like, well, yeah, what I did was pretty good, but this guy over here, he did a better job. He did something better. And maybe I got to grow out of that at some point. But in a way, it's like kind of the key to ambition for me. It's been something that's helped me to remain focused on what the next step would be, what the next level is, and to not get too complacent or too happy with myself. But here's a funny story. So when I started grad school, in case you don't know, finance PhDs are really hard to get. You got a lot of people out here that call themselves doctor this and doctor that. A lot of these people don't have a real PhD. They might have an honorary doctorate, or maybe they went to a tiny little week program that took a year to do, 6 months, something like that. I didn't want that kind of PhD. I wanted one that was truly going to give me what I wanted. That was really going to give me the rigor that I needed. So it took me a long time to finish. I didn't finish school till I was probably 30. I think officially got my degree when I was 31 and a half years old. And I went straight through. I didn't take time off. But I knew it was going to take me at least until 2028. But I had some things that went wrong, and I had to kind of keep going at it. But anyway, I remember teaching math at the University of Kentucky. And the first class I ever taught was actually trigonometry. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know shit about trigonometry. Nothing. I hadn't even taken geometry. I hadn't even taken geometry. And, um, and the reason I ended up teaching trig was because the chairman of the math department, I told the chairman of the math department I wanted to go to Kentucky and go back to Kentucky and get better at math. I needed to work on my math and statistical skill to improve to a level that would let me, do finance at the highest levels. Because I did not know, nobody told me, nobody prepared me for the fact that doing finance at the highest levels requires that you pretty much have to be a mathematician. The first classes that I took, in my PhD program were classes called like real analysis. Real analysis, in case you don't know, real analysis is the class you take after you've taken Calc 4 and linear algebra and all these other and differential equations. Also, after you've done all that high level stuff, then you go into real analysis, right? And so this was a new world. I mean, it was very scary, and so I had to get into this program, and the reason I had to get into the program is because at that time I was actually technically homeless. I didn't have anywhere to live. I had to stay with my best friend for a while, and now I wasn't as homeless as some people. Like I theoretically probably could have asked my parents to let me come back to the house, but when I was 18, my daddy put me out the house, and told me it was time for me to go, and it wasn't easy. The teenage years were kind of tough, but and that's why I'm a big advocate for fathers, for parents keeping fathers around, and for fathers keeping themselves around. It's a partnership. Anybody who thinks that it's only up to the father whether or not he's going to be in this child's life is lying. I've seen scenarios where mothers have a lot of power, and if the mother tells the child to disrespect the father, then the child's going to feel that they have a license to disrespect the father. There's a lot of it's what they call parental alienation. I see it happen all the time. But on the flip side, I've seen scenarios where the mother wanted the father around, and the father didn't want to be there. So I'm a big advocate of fathers being around because my father wasn't. He was my stepfather, and technically, and he loved me like his own son. But there's studies that show that it's hard for another man to love another man's child as if it's his own. And in the animal kingdom with other mammals, and in case if you study behavioral anthropology, I think is what it is, or behavioral psychology or anthropological psychology, I forgot what the field is, but if you study that, there's some lectures by a professor at Stanford. I can't remember his name right now, but he basically says that human brains are 95% the same as animal brains. So basically, anyway, the reason I say that is because in the animal kingdom, males typically do not take care of children that were created by other men. In fact, in some species they actually eat the kids or kill them. So I think they call it infanticide or something like that. And so, long story short, or maybe it's paternal. I'm getting all these words wrong, so forgive me if I say something stupid. If you're a real scientist and you're hearing this, you're like, "What is he saying?" Then just chalk it up to me trying to be an armchair analyst on this issue. But anyway, to get to that point, my father and I had a lot of tension. I'll just say that. Think about a little bit like the movie Baby Boy, except I wasn't trying to stay up under my mama, but you bump heads, and my father and I got along a lot better once I moved out of the house. But while I was in the house, it wasn't easy. It was very difficult. Teenage years were really tough. So anyway, long story short, so here I was, about 24 years old, homeless, had a girlfriend at the time. She had a son, and that made it even worse because she didn't have a place to live. So I'm up here trying to get everything together for myself and for other people, and it was just ridiculous. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. It was just a mess. That's why I encourage any young person, get advice from older people when you're going through stuff. Don't try to just figure it out on your own, because there's a lot you learn between 24 and 44 that could really make a difference for you. So when you're young and you're going through stuff, listen to older people, read books, research things on the internet. There's information out there. At the time, the internet wasn't around, so I really couldn't do that. So I was trying to solve this problem the best way I could. So getting into this math program was my salvation. That was, they had a little stipend for me that would give me a place to live. And so the chairman was like, "Well, can you teach trigonometry?" I was like, "Absolutely." So, so I'm teaching trigonometry. Ain't never took trig, ain't never took geometry, none of that. And I literally had to every day. I would study out of the book, and then the next day teach the material as if I'd known it my whole life. It was crazy, and it's not so hard to get past most students, because most college students, to be honest with you, don't study that hard. Most college students are lazy. That's why if you really want to get ahead of the game in college, all you got to do is just study about 4, 5, 6 hours a day. And people think that's a lot, but it's really not a lot, because when you go work, you're going to work 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day. So why wouldn't you go ahead and put in the work now so that you get the benefits later on? That's what I tell college students. It's just simple logic. So anyway, most college students, I was able to pull it off pretty easy. But then there's always that really smart kid, the one who did the problems that you didn't even assign, the one who wants to do the ones at the end of the chapter, the advanced brain buster problems that take a year to solve. And so this kid would, oh my God. And I remember every day going to class and thinking, man, I don't know if I can pull it past this guy. So anyway, long story short, I figured it out and I got through it. And another thing I had to do, another little tricky thing I had to do, was because I had to get caught up on math so fast. I remember taking calculus 2 before I took calculus 1, which was another crazy thing I did, but I pulled it off and it worked out. And so anyway, the reason I bring all this up, the reason I'm telling you this story, is because, number one, I was reflecting on it and I thought it was just an interesting thing. I literally hadn't really talked about this. I just hadn't thought about it for so long. But then number two, it's encouragement to kind of tell you that sometimes your darkest, most difficult moments are when you will be at your best. That's when you're able to shine your best. That's when you are being pulled to another level. So it's very stressful. Growth and progress, usually doesn't come without struggle and strain, right? So as you're experiencing the struggle and strain, just know that God is helping you grow. You're being forced out of your old body and into a new one. And so as hard as it is, you got to find a way to embrace that struggle and just say, you know what, I'm paying my dues now, but later on I'm gonna be a bigger, better, badder person because I went through this. So when you go through whatever, remember, you're always writing your testimony. So right now, I just gave you a testimony of one of the toughest times of my life. But I wouldn't be able to give you that testimony if I hadn't gone through it, if I hadn't fought through it and worked to overcome it, if I hadn't run toward my weakness instead of running away from it, if I hadn't embraced the, the investment, the sacrifice, as opposed to running away from it. So, now years later, experiences like that are what gave me tremendous confidence as a scholar. I can go on television on the biggest network on earth and debate the smartest people on the planet and have absolutely no fear whatsoever. Absolutely not one ounce of hesitation that leads me to somehow feel that I don't belong there. I don't feel that way. Maybe if I were playing basketball against LeBron James or something, I'd probably feel a little nervous, like, whoa, I don't know if I can win. but as a scholar, there's literally no fear intellectually, because the other thing about becoming truly educated is you get to a point where you just kind of accept the idea that you can't learn everything, you're not going to know everything, but you have fundamental tools of analysis that allow you to take a situation, break it down, chop it into pieces, and kind of see what look around and analyze it, right? And that's what I do with any issue. And so critical thinking skill, I would argue, is one of the most important things you can develop. I also encourage you to just understand that when you go through these trials, that those your weakest moments, your most vulnerable moments, can also become your greatest moments. Honestly, we just saw this happen on a national level. We just saw your boy LeBron James, who's been under tremendous heat, tremendous hate, tremendous pressure. He's thinking about his legacy. This man's been in the championship, in the final series, I think 6 times, and he's not like Jordan. Jordan won every single time he went to the championship. LeBron, it doesn't have that same record. So there was a lot of pressure on him, and you saw him find a way to rise above it. You saw him pull off, literally make history, pull off what is arguably the greatest performance in NBA Finals history. At least according to the indicators, I think they said he's the only player in history to lead in every single category. I think it was like not every single one, but it was like points, steals, blocks, rebounds, assists. I mean, they said no player's ever done that in the NBA Finals. So, what I saw, and this was actually what led me to predict the day before that, and I'm just bragging a little bit, predict the day before that LeBron was going to pull it off. As I said, this guy's momentum right now is at an unprecedented level. I cannot imagine him walking into that building and allowing anybody but him to walk away with that championship trophy. I just felt it. And also it's the culmination of experience. He's been here five times before. I just really felt that he was going to do it. And now, not to say that I was definitely right. I mean, he did win. Maybe it was luck or whatever, but I had that feeling. So in your own life, what's going to happen is pressure makes you great. That pressure is what's going to put you in a situation where you have hit rock bottom, your back is against the wall, you are feeling like you have no way out except to fight your way out. And you will do the same thing as LeBron. You will say, I don't care what happens right now. I am ready to give everything I've got to make this happen. And those will be your moments when you rise and you will see yourself become an eagle. Like now that LeBron has hit rock bottom and has climbed out of that, I guarantee you that he's going to be a different player next year. I wouldn't be surprised if he rattles off 2 or 3 more titles in a row, because there's something new that awakens when you crack out of that shell, almost like a baby bird busting out of the little shell. He has a certain kind of strength, or a caterpillar coming out of the cocoon, and all the beautiful butterfly. The whole analogy, right? And so be a butterfly. Don't let yourself rot away as a caterpillar because you're scared. That's what I want to say to you. So be scared, but do it anyway. That's it. I'm about to get out of here, guys. By the way, if you want to order Hidden Colors, which is like the hottest movie ever, it's a blackbuster. I've been calling them blackbusters now. I don't like the term blockbuster. That's white people own that term. I say we use the term blackbuster when it comes to big films that are big in our community that we make ourselves. And Hidden Colors to me is a blackbuster. This blackbuster Film is doing really well. It's being seen all over the world, and we actually have. I made a deal with Tariq where we can actually sell them through our platform. So we have a couple of options. If you've seen number four or you own number four and you want 1 through 3, you can literally go to hiddencolors123.com. Hiddencolors123.com. You can get the first three without the fourth. If you and also we have a lot of bonuses. You get free e-copies of 4 of my books. You also get a lecture, a really good lecture between Tariq and I, where we have a conversation about how he built up Hidden Colors. It's a lecture from the Black Business School, so you can get it there. If you want all 4, the whole set, you can order it at hiddencolors1234.com. I believe Hidden Colors is such a powerful film and such a monumental achievement that it should be part of the educational curriculum of every black child in the country. It should be in every black household in the country. It doesn't mean that every single thing that's said by every single expert on the film is something that you have to necessarily embrace or buy into. It's a long series. A lot of things were said, but it does mean that, I think our story needs to be the front story. We need to be the headliner. We need to be the front page of the story that we read about ourselves. And so I'm very, very proud of Hidden Colors. And also I keep forgetting that I was actually in it. So that's another great reason you'd see the most handsome black man in the film. I'm joking. I'm being silly. But so you can go to hiddencolors123.com, hiddencolors1234.com. Also, you can go if you just want 4 and you want the bundle pack from the Black Business School that comes with a free course and the lecture and the books and everything else. You can go to hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. That's hidden colors. Sorry. Hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. That's it. So anyway, take care, guys. I'm about to get out of here, and hope you have a great day. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace.